Hello there, welcome. Is this your first psychological exam? Well, there's no need to be nervous. We are here to help. Now, I understand you've been suffering with some anxieties and have trouble sleeping. Is that right? It is quite common, but I've reviewed your case extensively, and it is possible there are underlying factors at play here. So, first we're going to give you a psychological exam and then a physical medical check to finish. Don't worry, if at any time you would like to stop and have a break, just let me know. So I'm going to ask you a few questions to build up a better picture of your previous mental state and also your current mental state as well. Is there any questions you have for me before we begin? Okay, no problem. So there are 6 dimensions to mental health. We have the core cognition, the complex cognition, social, self, mood, outlook, drive and motivation, and mind-body connection as well. So we are going to be asking you a few questions today that gives us more background on those aspects. Okay. So, first question, how adaptable are you to changing environment? Yes, it is quite a varied question. Okay. Would you say you are quick to solve a problem? Do you usually look to help solve a problem? So you're fairly good at solving them on your own. That's good. Are you a creative and artistic individual? Do you have hobbies? That's great. Okay. Well, often it's very common that creative people are the kind who struggle with sleep the most. Your mind's always thinking away. Usually at night, the mind is most active for creative people. I myself struggle mostly in the evenings too. And how is your ability to persevere and complete tasks that present themselves to be challenging? Okay. Yes, easily distracted. Especially if the subject is not of much interest to you, I imagine. Do you manage to sleep solidly through, or is your sleep pattern quite broken? Yes. I suppose it does depend on how active you are through the day. If you could give me a random estimate, more of an average. So you have more of a broken sleep. Again, often your mind is ticking away even through sleep, and some things can wake you if your mind seems to think they're important. Okay. Are you able to control your thoughts and prevent yourself from acting impulsively? Well, it's not all bad to be emotional, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But it's how you deal with it, I suppose. That's good. So So you are a relatively self-controlled individual. That's good. Do you find it easy to pick up new skills and take on new information quite easily? Does it require some effort? So it takes some perseverance and repetition. So it does depend on if it's of interest to you. I understand that perfectly. Sometimes if things are rather boring to us, it does take that extra bit of effort. So that's pretty normal. Are you able to maintain meaningful connections and bonds with other people? Right. Why do you think that is? I understand. Sometimes it's to do with the way we're brought up or circumstances around us. Yes? It can even depend on where we live. If there aren't many people in your area, I suppose it would be trickier. Do you struggle to make new friends, or would you consider yourself an outgoing individual? Right, so it depends. Okay. Could you go into more detail for me? Right. Well, it is true that everybody has good days and bad days. And it depends how many people there are in the group. So you much prefer smaller groups? Yes. So there is some social anxiety there. But to be honest, that's perfectly normal in most cases. Sometimes we're just not feeling it, are we? Like socializing. Especially if we've had a bad day. Okay. Well, that's good so far. You're doing really well. Just going to make a few notes based off of your answers. Would you like a glass of water? No, you're okay. Just let me know if you'd like one, and I can get my assistant to fetch one for you. Right. Yes, it can be sometimes difficult to differentiate how bad the anxiety can be, because it is quite normal to have anxiety to a degree. Most people suffer anxiety throughout their life, whether it's consistent or fleeting. Certain situations can trigger anxiety. But what's important to remember is you're not alone with it. It is exceptionally common. Some people suffer with it for years, but still manage to continue on and still enjoy the little things in life and still push themselves to do things that they might struggle with or have struggled with in the past. It's always good to keep challenging yourself. It certainly helps. Okay. That's wonderful. I just have a few more questions for you on this matter. Are you able to recover quickly from negative setbacks? Does it usually trigger quite a large emotional response from you? Or do you keep it subdued? Right. Are you quite a passionate person? Okay. Would you say that you are well organized or exist in a more creative chaos? Yes, that would make sense if you are a creative person. Okay. Do you agree that you are articulately spoken, or do you lose confidence in your own words? So you're more confident in a smaller group. Okay. How many people would you say would be tipping the scales for you? No more than about 5. Okay. Well, that isn't bad. It could be less, so you should always look at the positives there. Are you promptly able to recover old memories or past events? Do they become hazy over time? So, it does sound like you could suffer with mild PTSD there, but let's not press on that too much. So it's more the important events. Again, not uncommon. Okay. Are there any memories specifically that you hold on to? Right. I see. Sadly, through life, things can't always go as we'd like them to, but it's how we deal with them that makes all the difference, and what we choose to do about it. Okay. If you would like to go into that in more depth later, just let me know. Okay, for now we will move on. Are you easily able to hold eye contact with somebody during conversation? Yes. I do see you staring at your feet a lot. Is that because you are thinking what to say, or because you feel slightly uncomfortable in your surroundings? A mixture of the two. I understand. Sometimes if I am trying to recollect a memory, I will look off at something relatively boring to stabilise my mind so that I can try and remember it better. If I stare at things moving, it doesn't help very much for some reason. Okay. Can you make quick decisions effectively? And are you confident in taking calculated risks? Okay. So you can make decisions quickly, but when it comes to calculated risks, yeah, so there's slightly more pressure there, isn't there? Okay. It's important also to note that we can't always make the right choice. We can only do what we can at the time. Yes, and if you have good intentions, then that's the best that you can ask of yourself. Okay. Do you have any hobbies in life that excite you, or are you quick to lose interest in things? Yes, so you are creative. And in what aspects specifically? So it sounds like you enjoy a mixture of different mediums. That's good. Do you like to watch movies, play video games, board games? That's good. You must have good cognitive abilities then. Okay. That is excellent. But you do lose interest in things that don't interest you. I can understand that. Are you easily distracted by things when trying to concentrate on something that's important? So, not so good in the daytime, more the evening. Yes, so you feel like you can easily concentrate at night, but not so much in the morning or the daytime. Why do you think that is? things are more quiet that time, aren't they? It does encourage us to think more deeply into things when there is more quiet. And how is your eating pattern? Do you find that your weight fluctuates from time to time? Is it relatively consistent? Okay. So it depends on what situation you're in. How about socially? Yes. Sometimes we are so busy we forget to eat, so it's not uncommon either. Okay. Do you eat a fairly healthy diet? That's good. That is good. Well, it's not bad to enjoy a treat or two now and again. Are you able to see situations from another's perspective? Right. So this is more of a question based on empathy. Okay. Yes, there is the other side where you can care too much and take on that burden yourself. It is a fine balance sometimes. So you find you can put yourself in other people's shoes. Right? And if it were, say, a sad event, would you take on that burden yourself emotionally? Yes. Well, that does say that you are a caring person, but if you are already struggling with some anxieties, it can be quite a lot for you to take on. Okay. Do you have a strong sense of your own identity? Okay. And are you confident in your own image? What percent of the time would you say that you are confident in your own image? Okay. Are there things specifically that you would like to change about yourself? Right. Well, if you are unhappy with something and you are able to change it, I would recommend doing so if it makes you feel better. There's no point in carrying on unhappy for no reason when things can be helped. Okay. Don't listen to what other people tell you either. You have to do what makes you happy at the end of the day. Well, you've done really well answering those questions. Some are designed to be quite vague to encourage your first thoughts and for you to decide yourself where you would like the answer to go. Yes, sometimes people struggle to answer at all if they are too vague. You've done really well. Okay. So, now I'm going to move on to the next assessment. So, this is the inkblot test, and it was designed by Rorschach. And it's designed to tell us and teach us the inner workings of a person's mind. Don't worry, it sounds a lot more intense than it is. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some flashcards, and I want you to tell me what the first thing that comes into your head is when you see these images, okay? I'm going to take it easy. There is 10 of them altogether, just to prepare you for what's to come. If you'd like a break, just let me know. And if you'd like some water, I can go get some for you. You okay to continue? Excellent. So, are you ready? This is the first image. Can you tell me what you see here? There is no right or wrong answer. Okay? It's very interesting indeed. All my patients have seen a different thing each time, so it's always interesting to know the outcome. Okay, are you ready for the next image? I suppose it does kind of look like two bears. The common answer for this one is most people do see two bears. As you can see, the picture is mirrored, so it's really interesting to know what it is that people see first. Right. Okay. Are you ready for the next image? Yeah, so some images are actually in colour. They do give us a different response per patient. The colour does encourage more ideas, whereas the black and the red, there are more precise answers. There is more variation with the colour ones. So, what do you see here? Nothing you say can be too disturbing. I have heard all sorts. Okay. And next one. What does it look like to you? Yes, some people do focus on the image in its entirety, but some people choose to focus on certain aspects of the image. Would you say you focus more on the complete image or different aspects? Right. Yes, that is interesting. Again, there are no wrong answers or right ones. Okay. And the next one. This one is fairly obvious as to what most people might think it is, but I'm going to let you answer. I don't want to encourage you. You'll be pleased to know that that is the most common answer. It's very interesting how many people agree on the same image for that one. And this one. What is it that you see here? Yes. Very good. I can tell already that you do have a creative mind. Your answers are very interesting indeed. And this one. Yes. Very good. I myself thought of a similar thing for that one. Well, most of the time, people do sometimes see an animal. I can see for myself why people would see that mostly. See, most people's brains would work in a way where they would relate the image to something that they have seen already. It's very interesting when people describe something that they've heard of but have never actually seen themselves. And this image here. So this is the first colour image. If I turn it this way, perhaps. Yeah, so you've given me different answers depending on which way the image is rotated. Things are not always as they appear. Okay, that's very good. And the next image. Yes. So you feel like this is slightly more vague. Some people sometimes see scenery as opposed to a single object. Yes. The image has less detail, it's easy to understand why that is. And the final image. Yes, I can see where you're coming from. The longer you look, the more you see. It is most interesting. This is one of my favourite tests, purely because of the creativeness of the answers. Wow, it is fantastic. And it's very interesting to know what your first answers were. Did you change your mind at all in your head? It sometimes is hard to pinpoint which answer we would like to say if we're thinking of multiple at once. But it's the one that jumps out at you the most is what we're looking for. Right? So, you have done very well with those tests. And that's all for today. Yes, you've done very well. So what I will do is I will review my notes and take some time to think back on this meeting. And I will write you a letter and post to you my findings. And also I will note down the date of your next appointment. I should like to conduct some more tests with you if you don't mind. Yes, so next will be the medical check. Okay. Do you have any questions for me? Yes, it can be anything at all. Well, I suppose I first started because I wanted to help people. And it is most interesting, the work. As I say, it's very common that people should suffer with lack of sleep and anxiety. Yes, I myself have suffered and it's still ongoing. Sometimes talking to patients helps myself understand more about it as well. You can't always learn from a textbook. Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you and I look forward to our next meeting. Take care. Bye for now.